Eddie, just a quick question on both fighters. You promote both guys. Which one are you picking to win?
I think with the bookies and to the casual fan, Buatsi's the favourite in the fight. But I see a belief in Craig Richards, honestly, that he believes he's the favourite in this fight. He's improved a lot. He's really grown into the weight. He's coming off a good win. He's been nice and active, which could be a difference as well. So I actually think it's a 50-50 fight.
A quick question on Sonny Edwards. Did you watch his fight and how close are we to Martinez?
I saw the first few rounds. I talked to him this morning on TalkSport, spoke to Richard Schaefer. I'd love to make the Martinez fight. He has to fight Arroyo, but once he gets that out of the way, happy to make that unification.
Do you think Buatsi needed an opponent the calibre of Craig Richards in his next fight?
Not just the calibre, but the size of the fight and the profile of the fight as well. Like Vlasov was a great fight, but this is different. You know, this is a fight that the casual fans, you know, people in boxing, people in London will get excited about. It's going to do big numbers, and this is the kind of fight I think both guys needed.
How likely is Devin Haney Kambosos fight?
Well, you'd think now it's the only option for Kambosos. I mean, you know, it's like Kambosos come out and said, well, Loma's there, so all right, we'll give Devin Haney the shot. You know, he's a world champion as well. We've been waiting for this shot for a long time, so we've had an offer last night, we're going for it today, and hopefully we can get that fight made.
I said the USYK situation isn't resolved yet, but how likely or how easy is a Joe Joyce fight to make if that was an option, you and Frank?
I've no idea how much money they want. You know, I think I haven't had an approach from Frank Warren for that fight. I've had approaches from virtually every other promoter trying to, you know, put their name forward. It's a good fight. AJ has no problem fighting Joe Joyce. If I was advising him, I would say you should be fighting a southpaw, but they're not many. Luis Ortiz, Otto Walin, Zile Zhang, who's now fighting Hrgovic. So, but he wants a good fight, and we'll have to see. But first things first, we need to make so much competition as summer shows, and it pushes you to try and be the best fight of the night. And on Saturday, coming, we are the best fight of the night, Warrington against Martinez.
Eddie, we saw you pictured at the UFC with Dana White. What was said between you? Were you talking about Canelo Usman or working
really,
together?
It was amazing. I mean, he invited me down there, and when I turned up, I was sitting next to him at the Octagon, there. And I've never really been before, and I've never seen the sport up close. It was thrilling. It was so interesting to actually learn and see the sport up close. Obviously, UFC is a huge organisation, and yeah, look, we all know I'm the best boxing promoter in the world, but am I the best promoter in the world? I think you probably have to give the edge to Dana White. So it was pretty good to be around him and just learn. I'm not arrogant enough to think that I can't learn from people who are very successful at what they do. And Dana White has always been unbelievably courteous to me, and I appreciate that and I respect that, and I admire the job that he's doing.
What do you think the main things boxing can take from UFC and what Dana White's doing?
So many different things. I mean, firstly, you know, even down to small things like the gap between fights, and I don't know if this is every UFC, but there seemed to be a traditional break period between fights. Sometimes when you're doing boxing, you're led by the broadcaster. If you want to slow the night down a little bit because you want to get the main event right, you might have a 20-minute gap. I didn't feel any of those gaps. I felt a very clear flow all night, almost to the point that a fight would finish. You'd get up, you'd have a chat with people, 2 or 3 minutes later you'd sit back down, the next one was in. Loads and loads of different things, production, music, lighting, so many different things, and you know, I really enjoyed it.
You said on Instagram Live yesterday about Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. You think that's next? Is that based on a conversation?
And then I saw the news about Vasily Lomachenko not fighting George Kambosos, and it makes me think that Usyk will probably follow suit. So I'm due to have a conversation with Alex Krasuk, and we need a decision. Quite frankly, you know, we need to know what's happening, and then we'll make our decision.
When do you expect you'll have to sort of set that deadline for the
end of this week, really. End of this week, really. You know, AJ's on me to fight. He's ready to go. He wants to be active, and you know, we need to get a decision ASAP.
If you had to put a percentage chance on it, what do you expect?
I hate those questions because I mean, how do you know? I mean, I would have said I would have said 3 or 4 days ago 70-30 he'll take the fight, but now maybe 70-30 against. I just don't. You know, I don't know where he is, what he's thinking, what the situation is, but we need to know selfishly, and now we're going to start putting the pressure on for that.
Eddie, just a quick one on Derek Chisora. He was down at the UFC the other day as well. Andy Ruiz fight being talked about. What do you expect will happen next?
I think Andy Ruiz will fight Luis Ortiz. I spoke to Louis de Cubas last night. I love that fight, and I like the Areola fight, so we'll see what happens, but Del Boy's on me as well for a date, so trying to deliver a big fight for him. It's really like, it's more, a lot of the time it's a lot of intrinsic stuff. So like, you look at this fight, for example, Craig Richards wants to fight for the world title. Joshua Buatsi wants to fight for the world title. But I'm looking at it going, guys, it's not there at the moment. Why not fight each other? So maybe, I don't know, Peter Sims says, well, Boatsie's kind of like the golden boy at Maxwell, so we're not fighting him. And maybe Boatsie goes, well, you know Peter Sims and Tony Sims, so you're... Or maybe not him, but maybe people in the team. Sometimes you just got to think with a clear head about what makes sense. I keep going back to Smith against Fowler. Great example. 10,000 in there, great audience, great night for everybody. Everyone made a huge amount of money. Same with this fight. So if you believe you can win, if you believe you're good enough, these fights should become more regular.
We see Felix Ash featuring on the squad.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, I'm disappointed because the European title fight, which was due to happen, I think, this weekend, has been postponed. And we're supposed to be fighting for the European title, so I have to see what happens, but I want to keep Felix Ash active.
Eddie, how likely do you think it is that Canelo will fight in the UK?
I think in December he'll fight in Mexico or the UK, and I think I will be pushing, obviously, for the UK. I can't lie, it'd be amazing to do a fight in Mexico at the same time. But you know, so I want to get people and options in position to fight him, and it will it's a life-changing opportunity. When you fight Anthony Joshua, when you fight Canelo Alvarez, you change your life forever. That's why you see people queuing up and begging it on Twitter. I'd be begging it. If I was a fighter, I'd be begging to fight Canelo Alvarez every day, because you want the biggest payday in boxing. Payday, payday, you're on payday, I know that.